I'm Ruth O'Brien.
From local sports to national newsmakers, this is the show everybody is talking about. Live from the Granite State, it's Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Good morning and welcome to the Mike and the Hoss Show, powered by the M Shop on the Pulse of New Hampshire. I'm Mike Dene, and alongside Charlie Hossack, we are Mike and the Hoss. All right, Charlie, it's time for our depressing Saturday weather forecast, or weather comments anyway.
It is, yeah. Of course, we just heard the weather on the Pulse, but yep, it's raining. What is this? Is this the 12th or 13th weekend in a row that we've had rain? Something like that. It's been as Dog said pre-show, it's a washout. May is a washout, and this is the last day of May. So it'll improve tomorrow, though. The weather's going to get better, and it's gotta get better.
It's a new month. That's why we're in June tomorrow.
Yeah. So,
but we're still talking high of 63. It's not. It's a bad pattern that we're in right now. But boy, 3 days during the week are really nice, and while we're in school, while we're working, and then we get to the the Saturday of our weekend, and oh well.
Right.
And we got pretty used to it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And with June coming up, I mean, it's a kind of a big month. It's my favorite holiday is coming up, which is Flag Day on June 14th. And then we have, of course, Father's Day, and it's just there's a lot going on in June. And for us, Mike, we celebrate our last day of school is coming up in a couple of weeks, so it's a big month. Lots of graduations, high school graduations will be happening.
High school graduation will be in June. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and don't forget the high school playoffs for all the spring sports.
Correct. Those all start next week. Yeah. So
hopefully the weather cooperates. I know that we were talking off air. There are still games that have to be played. Usually playoffs have started and they can't, there are all these makeup games, our school, Kingswood, all kinds of makeup games that they had to do.
They're going to play. There's some teams tomorrow that they're playing on Sunday, which usually you avoid Sunday, but they have to just based on the weather and to be able to start the playoffs on time. So games will be played tomorrow.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Mike and the Hoss is powered by the M Shop, located in the heart of downtown Wolfboro, and can be found on the Pulse of New Hampshire radio stations and all over the world in the Pulse of New Hampshire app. You can always catch up and listen to our previous shows on the Pulse Podcast Network, Spreaker, Audible, and Amazon Music. The M Shop has over 100 varieties of fresh baked goods, including 6 different types of bread and a full-service ice cream bar, and, of course, their most famous item, the gingerbread cookie. Make sure to visit the Yum Shop the next time you're in Wolfboro or online at yumshop.com. And while you're there, enter the discount code of Mike and the Hoss to receive 20% off a Gingy Box. You can join our conversation, 603-228-2080. That is 603-228-2080. We also want to mention that we are on Facebook Live. If you're catching us on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live. Our stream is brought to you by the Heinz Group of Philadelphia and London. And we also, if you want to catch us, Charlie and I have a podcast middle of the week, Overtime with Mike and the Hoss, that you can catch on the Pulse Podcast Network. And of course, our social media, Charlie.
Yes, we are on X. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on TikTok. So give us a like, follow us. All sorts of good stuff there from Mike and the Hoss. And if you can't, for some reason you're unable to listening live right now, J-Dog will get this up and you'll be able to watch the live broadcast at your convenience at any time on Facebook.
All right. Big day for the Back Bay Boathouse. They are sponsoring our opening takes and they're doing our trivia today.
Yes.
So our opening takes are brought to you by the Back Bay Boathouse,
where you can enjoy delicious food and drinks right next to the lake. Don't forget to order the $5 Mike and the Hoss penalty box during happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Also, good news is they're open 7 days a week now. So the Back Bay Boathouse, 7 days a week. So you can head on down and get a delicious meal.
A quick prop for the Back Bay Boathouse. I don't know if you caught it on social media. Governor Wentworth is in a budget freeze. And so one of the traditions that they have for the seniors are the Gold Scholars, which are the top kids as far as academics. And they have a luncheon that is paid for by the school and whoever. But because we're on a budget freeze, they didn't know if they were going to be able to do it. And so the Back Bay Boathouse stepped up and paid for the whole thing. And so they had their Gold Scholar luncheon there.
That's awesome. They get to go down. Yeah, they go down on Molly the trolley. They take the trolley down from the school, and awesome. So thank you to Back Bay Boathouse, and thank you to Doug Lamparter.
Very good. Do you want me or you? What do you got to do?
Why don't you do it? Why don't you start, Mike? Because it kind of comes off of our Overtime with Mike and the Hoss this past Wednesday.
Yeah, and I guess a little bit also from our poll question, which we'll get to later. I said core is not the problem. of the Red Sox. Cora is not. I mean, the Red Sox are flailing. They did win last night, but they are a flailing team right now. And I said Cora's not the problem, but he still needs to be replaced. And I think a lot of times that you see that with teams that they need that spark. They need a change in the culture. They need something. I don't think Cora is the problem. I don't think he's the reason why they're losing, but he's also not a reason why they're going to start winning the way that he's doing it. He's kind of mailed it in a little bit. And he got his contract last year. He's the second highest paid manager in baseball. He's, there are a lot of reasons for the way the Red Sox are playing right now. And I think the number one reason that I'm seeing is that he's not holding the players accountable like you would expect him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And is he placating to the stars too much, even though they don't have many? Is he placating to them?
A few.
And so again, I don't think that he's necessarily the problem, but I still think he needs to be fired. I think the Red Sox need a massive shakeup. They replaced their general manager with the same person, basically the same kind of thing. They didn't change their philosophy around. That's where I think the problem lies, is the philosophy of the organization. And you have a manager now that you've had them for 6 years. They're 500 for over the 6 years. They're below 500 this year. They're underachieving. I think we all agree that they're underachieving compared to the talent pool that they had last year. Compared to this year, they're underachieving. Again, I don't think it falls all completely on Alex Cora, but the team needs a shakeup. You're not going to fire Rafael Devers. You're not going to fire Alex Bregman. You're not going to fire Craig Preslow because you just hired him. You're not going to, I wish they would, fire Sam Kennedy, because I think that's where a lot of this philosophy comes. You're not going to fire John Henry. So the only likely person that you can actually make a real shakeup is Alex Cora. And they're going to need somebody that's going to come in and that doesn't have the respect. He doesn't respect the players to a point where he's afraid of bothering them, that he's going to come in and kind of, throw the chair against the wall and say, are you guys sick of losing? A little Brad Pitt scene in Moneyball that, this is what losing sounds like, and it's all quiet. You need that guy that's going to come in. I don't want it to be a Bobby Valentine. I don't want that kind of, move, but something needs to come in to shake that up. Something needs to come in to get Devers to demand a trade. To go through that whole thing that teams go through, and then they say we're not going to trade you, and then eventually he's playing third base again, or he's playing first base. Right. But they have to go through that process. They can't go through that process with Alex Cora because he's too close to the players at this point, too close to the star players, specifically Rafael Devers. He's too close to them. And they need somebody that's a little bit farther away from them just so they could shake up that locker room. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, my thoughts. It's interesting because I was thinking about this. We hadn't even talked about this, but you're right. I see Alex Cora has become a friend to all. He's the manager that's friendly with all the players, that the players like him. I don't think the players necessarily respect him. They're just like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. And Rafael Devers and obviously Alex Cora speak the same native tongue, so that has also kind of built their relationship as well, which is fine. But you're right, Mike. Alex Cora is not the guy that's going to challenge Rafael Devers. He's not going to challenge anyone on the team right now. He's got his contract. The Red Sox, sadly, we talked about this before, are going to be about a 500 team. They're still going to be relevant come the end of August. They're going to, they just beat the Braves last night. They're probably going to win some. They're going to lose some. And I don't know if management is ready to say we're going to get rid of Alex Cora, because even think of the casual fan. The casual fan likes Alex Cora. I mean, even based on, we'll talk about it later, like based on our poll question, like, you would think we're like the big meanies, the big ogres here. How dare we even question that? Because people like Alex Cora, and there's nothing about Alex Cora that's kind of unlikable other than his style of baseball management. And for the average fan, the casual fan, they don't care about that. They just see, oh, Alex Cora, the players like him. He's a good guy. His press conferences are pretty, okay. He doesn't say anything controversial. So I don't see Alex Cora going anywhere, because I don't think John Henry is going to say, hey, let's get rid of Alex Cora and bring in some guy that's going to kind of, tip things over in the locker room, get people fired up, get people angry and ticked off. I don't think John Henry wants that because it doesn't appear that he's that type of owner.
I think the players love playing for him. I think they love it. But they're so comfortable
Yeah.
that they're not being held to a higher standard. The base running mistakes, the errors that are being made. They played Atlanta, and they need a Bobby Cox that pulls guys off the field in the middle of the inning if they don't run after the ball. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You pulled a guy off the field in the middle of the inning because he didn't run after the ball, and it was one of the superstar players. He was a younger player, but he was a superstar. I think he was center fielder, and I forget the name. But he, in the middle of the inning, what was it? Who was it?
Andrew Jones.
It was Andrew Jones. And so in the middle of the inning, he didn't run after a ball, and he pulled him off the field in the middle of an inning. Is that Little League? Yeah, but they need a little bit of that. They're too comfortable. They're just too comfortable right now, and they're not demanding. Losing is just too comfortable for them because he's not calling them out. He's not in their press conferences.
No.
He's just supporting him. He's just doing that. The errors the other day were just ridiculous. The Kristen Campbell throw to home plate. He missed home plate by 6 yards. It wasn't feet. He missed it by 6 yards.
Yeah.
And he should have been held accountable for that. When the base running blunder, when your guy Connor Wong was on third base and he was held up, and Rafael Devers was running around the bases, keeping no eye on the third base coach whatsoever, made it all the way to third base with Connor Wong standing there. You'd think that you would have noticed, you would have looked up and say, hey, there seems to be an extra guy on third base. Maybe I should turn around. But just nothing. It's just, and there's no accountability. And I think Connor Wong is too close to the players. They love playing for him. And that's great if you're getting everything out of them. If you can take the star player and move them to whatever position that you need to move him to, because he's going to do what's best for the team because you asked him to do that. But he doesn't have that relationship. And just, see Rafael Devers. He won't do anything out of comfort. He will not do anything besides DH, which is really handcuffing the organization because Roman Anthony, they don't have a place for Roman Anthony because by all accounts, he's not a very good fielder and they don't want to put him in left field. They really should bring him up to DH. That spot should be opened by Devers, either at third base or first base. Kristen Campbell's going to be playing first base, I think, today or tomorrow. It just doesn't make any sense. And is it Alex Cora's fault? No, not directly. It's not a decision that he's made directly, but he has developed a culture in the locker room that is just too comfortable.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
What are your thoughts, Doug, as a non-Red Sox fan?
Comfort and that kind of thing creates complacency. And, well, look at where they're at right now. And if they want to try to make a splash, is it going to be a trade? Probably not. They're going to have to do something. Does that mean getting rid of the manager, who they just signed to a long-term deal for fear that at some point he would go to the rival Yankees, because Aaron Boone is always walking on eggshells despite being in the World Series as a manager last year? Something's going to have to happen. It's going to be an organizational move. Is it going to be a managerial move? We're going to soon find out, because I got to think at some point they're not going to keep this going for the next few months.
Back in 2008, I think it was 2008, Manny Ramirez, very too comfortable. Tito couldn't get him to do what he needed to do to play the way that he needed to play. Management stepped up and traded his butt out of town.
Yeah.
And
he was a fan favorite.
They're not working together. And Alex Cora is pretty much on record that he doesn't really believe in the philosophy of the organization. And I think you're seeing the dysfunction between the manager and the management, that they're not stepping up. If you're not going to be afraid of the manager, then you got to be afraid of the general manager, because you got to believe that the general manager will ship you out of town if you're not on board with the team. And there's that element is just not there.
There's no fear there. Two things before we go to break, Mike. One, they're both Red Sox related. One happens to be Manny Ramirez. You saw that he has put out there that he is available for any baseball team in the major leagues, that he would provide his hitting services, that he could be a hitting coach, hitting instructor, and not a single team has asked him to come join them. The other piece is the Jim Rice thing, with Jim Rice offering hitting advice. Now, we know how good a hitter Jim Rice was back in the day, and the fact that that's being squashed by the Red Sox, that they have a different philosophy about their hitting style. Jim Rice is all about small ball. He was talking about that. You don't need to go out there, guys, and try to hit a home run every time you get up. you need to think about playing some small ball. That's how you win baseball games. And ownership, management, general management were like, yeah, no, we don't want to hear that from you, Jim Rice. I have found that interesting.
I think I think that's the number one problem with the philosophy of the organization.
Yeah.
Last night, I actually watched pretty much the whole game last night, and they did win, but I swear every other guy struck out. It was incredible how many strikeouts there were, and there was no shortening up with 2 strikes. There was no moving a runner across, none of the small ball stuff. It was just swing for the fence, and that was it. And they made an average pitcher look pretty good for the Braves, and the Braves have bullpen issues because they've went down a few times, and instead of working counts, instead of doing that, they just got him off the hook every single inning by giving him 6 and 7 pitch innings because they were just swinging for the fence every time. It was a bad look. I mean, they did win, but it was a bad look. All right, we got to go to break. We'll be right back.
News, traffic, weather, and discussion. Available to you anytime, anywhere with the always free to download Pulse of New Hampshire app.
Hey, Dennis Roberts Jr. here from Hillsborough Ford and Hillsborough Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Spring is finally here. The birds are chirping. We're seeing actual signs of warm weather, and the only thing cleaner than your garage will be our lot after these deals roll out the door. That's cheesy, but it's kind of true. With employee pricing or incentives and discounts, you'll find these incredible deals are real. So yeah, we're doing a bit of spring cleaning of our own, clearing space and passing the savings on to you. Whether you're looking for a Ford, Ram, or Jeep, we're here, ready to help you get some of the best deals we've seen in a long time. We know price matters, and we also have some of the greatest customer satisfaction scores out there. And one customer said they made buying a new car so easy. I thought I missed something. And what I'll respond to that customer is, nothing was missed. That's just how we roll. See what I did there, roll? I'm a dad. So if you're ready to shake off the winter blues and roll into spring in something new, come see us. So head to the Hills, Hillsborough Ford and Hillsborough Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today. Or visit us on the web at hillsboroughford.com or hillsboroughcdjr.com today.
No matter what age you are, you want to look and feel as healthy as you possibly can. Confidence shines through something that's used on a day-to-day basis, your smile. Bow Family Dentistry has been the go-to dentist for friends and families for over 30 years. Dr. Katz, Dr. Rusinski, and their team at Bow Family Dentistry offer general dental care, and they specialize in aesthetic dental care. Their aesthetic care will make your smile not only look great, but leave your teeth stronger and healthier too. Bow Family Dentistry's mindset is to fix it rather than patch it, giving patients the ideal look with the ideal function. Their dental office is a place where your smile can not only be built, but meticulously maintained. Their aesthetic services include, but are not limited to, teeth whitening, teeth bonding, tooth repair and shaping, denture needs, and porcelain veneers. Bow Family Dentistry, enhancing your smile with comfort and care for over 30 years. If you're looking for aesthetic excellence, set up an appointment today and visit bowfamilydentistry.com.
When we think of perms, we think of the 80s, but we should really be thinking of 1906.
This was the year inventor Carl Nessler introduced his electric permanent wave machine to hairdressers in London. But it didn't catch on until 1915, when Carl immigrated to New York City and discovered a huge demand for his machines.
And American Fences was there as the perm took the world by storm, not just once, but twice.
Since 1892, American Fences has been owned and operated by the Mafera family. Whether your fence is professionally installed or a do-it-yourself project, experience matters. American Fences brings you the best in fencing materials and the most professional fence installations in New Hampshire. Choose American Fences, and we'll even lend you the post hole digger.
Visit American Fences Incorporated on Hooksett Road in Hooksett.
Online at americanfences.net. That's americanfences.net.
Coming up at noon, we talk tech with Kim Commando. In the meantime, we're back to Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Mike on the mic, Hoss playing boss, Wolf for a North Nights, where the snow gets tossed, talking socks packed with a swagger of floss. Dedicated dads, coaches, no loss. The field to the ring, they know every blink. Teaching kids
603-228-2080. Mike Danae, Charlie Hossack, and J-Dog back in studio. Mike and the Hoss. All right, time for New Hampshire sports.
Brought to you by Bailey's Bubble. Family-owned and operated Bailey's Bubble in downtown Wolfboro serves the finest ice cream in the state May through October. If you can't make it to Wolfboro for ice cream, you can still order their hot fudge, panucci, and butterscotch sauces at baileysbubble.com. My favorite is their homemade hot fudge. When placing your order, don't forget to tell them that Mike and the Hoss sent you. I do want to let you guys in on a little secret. There's a little something happening with Bailey's Bubble where Mike and the Hoss are going to have their own special. So stay tuned in the weeks to come for a Mike and the Hoss special down at Bailey's Bubble.
I'm on a low carb diet, so we're gonna. I'm just kidding. I'm all over it. I'm all over it. I have no willpower. So New Hampshire sports. And I know, Charlie, we talked a little bit about this at the beginning that you like this. I don't know what I was doing. I was bombing around the internet and came into this thing about what sport do you identify with your state? Yeah. And, I was thinking, Texas was football. And I was just thinking off the top of my head, Texas was football. Hockey would be Minnesota and things like that. I was like, okay, what's New Hampshire going to be? And J-Dog, you haven't seen this list, but I was going to, and you know where it came from is that I was looking at the Union Leader and I was reading the articles and it was lacrosse. It was lacrosse is a big deal in New Hampshire, even though we don't have a professional franchise or anything like that. But there's a lot of lacrosse programs in New Hampshire. I said, well, maybe it's lacrosse. Where do you think that we'll go to the other states in a second because we're going to get a laugh at the other states. Sure. But where do you think, if you think of New Hampshire and you have to associate one sport with New Hampshire, where do you go with it, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, I automatically go to skiing. I mean, I just think of Bodie Miller or, I just think skiing. It's got to be skiing because there really, for me in New Hampshire, there really isn't anything else that, you have these, you have Olympians and things like that. So for me, you go back as far as like we talked about her, like Penny Patu, back in the 1960 Olympics, and it's skiing. That's what we do, right? That's our number one tourist industry, right? Skiing, and people come up here to do that. So that's kind of what I would think of. Skiing is our number one sport in New Hampshire.
And maybe we have some, but I wonder why there's not. We have the mountains. Why there's not professional events as far as world tour stuff in New Hampshire? Because I'm with you, and that's what it is. Skiing is. So if you look on a list generated by the internet, skiing is what New Hampshire sport is, New Hampshire state sport. But you just wonder why we don't have any other professional things. Well, we do have the Fisher Cats, so I guess that is something.
Yeah, sure.
But why don't we have a skiing? Do our mountains not meet the criteria for that? Does it have to be in Colorado? Does it have to be in Switzerland? Does that, what's the matter with Loon or Cannon? Right. They seem like they're legit.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, maybe it has to do with accommodations. Are there enough hotels, businesses, that type of thing? I mean, if you go to Vail, I don't know if you've been to Vail. Vail is absolutely gorgeous, and so you go to Vail, and it's pretty much its own. It's its own entity. You got everything there: hospitals, restaurants, whatever. So maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, let's have some fun with this. So we're gonna. I've got about 20 states here, and I'm gonna say the state name, and you guys are gonna think about what you think the state sport is. Yeah. And I promise you're not gonna get all of them. All right. So we'll start simple. We'll start with Alaska, and Dog, you're in on this too.
Yeah, so for me, this is a little bit of a cheat because I can see it. So I don't want to. I'm going to let Dog be more of the guesser. And I will. Before Dog goes with Alaska, like with Alaska, for me, I don't think of any sport with Alaska. I just think of cold tundra. Maybe ice climbing would be what I would have guessed.
All right, Dog.
Hockey.
It is dog mushing. So dog mushing is the state sport. California, and I had this one wrong when I was thinking California, so I had this one wrong. Dog, what's California?
Baseball.
Don't say it, Mike. Don't say it, because I just wanted to, before we get to it, because what you're going to say is absolutely crazy, because when I think of California, Dog's got baseball. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I also might even take it to the other extreme and say like swimming and diving. Right? Swimming and diving could be there. And the other thing is every high school in California, as you know, I went to high school in California, has water polo. So something to do with like water sports. And I know this one is, but I don't think this is the right answer, Mike. What is it?
Well, first of all, I was originally thinking football, and I was thinking about, okay, you look at the NFL, so many NFL athletes come out of California, so many of them. Yeah. And I was thinking, so I was going that way, but the state sport's surfing in California. Yeah. Beach Boys. All right. Colorado has two. Colorado has 2, dog. It has 2. You'll get one of them.
Skiing.
Yes,
And
skiing and
hockey?
snowboarding. You're not going to get the second one.
You'll never get the second one, dog.
It's
Skiing. Was it skiing or snowboarding?
Both.
It's both. Like skiing and snowboarding, and then pack burro racing. Pack burro racing is their
I'm
state
gonna,
sport.
we're gonna race my burrow. That would
All
be
right.
great.
Delaware.
Football.
Good guess.
Yeah, I mean,
you can
it's
see the list. Bicycling.
like
It's bicycling. Biking is the state sport in Delaware. Hawaii. You should get this one.
yeah.
Football.
No.
Surf.
Think surfing.
Surfing. Hawaii. You
You need
gotta-
to give me these 4 major sports because the rest of these are irrelevant. If I'm not doing them, they're irrelevant.
All right,
Let
let's
me
do
give
it.
you a
Let's do
hint.
at least one more. We gotta
keep the X Games in mind. Keep
Yeah,
the
we-
X Games in mind as you do
we
this. All right.
gotta
do
we gotta do
surfing on the
Maryland.
internet.
We gotta do Maryland.
Maryland has 2. Maryland has 2.
Football.
No.
Basketball.
No, think of this. Think of this sport.
Not a 4 major sports, but like a 6 major sport. Think of a top 6 major sport. Think of college.
Golf?
College. No, think of college.
Oh, sorry.
So it's lacrosse.
Crab
Sorry.
shucking.
Lacrosse.
All right,
Oh,
here's
then-
let me give him Mike. Let me give him the hint. I already gave it to him kind of earlier.
You did.
For Maryland, for the other sport, think of King Richard's Fair. What did they do there?
Oh, the swords, right? Dueling.
Yeah, jousting. Exactly.
Jousting. Yeah.
Jousting is also the Maryland.
Who made this list?
I don't know.
I love it.
I look at the references and see. All right, Massachusetts.
Hockey.
That's what I said. I said it was going to be hockey. It is not hockey. Think Patrick Ewing.
Basketball, huh?
Yeah,
weird.
basketball.
For me, Massachusetts would be hockey.
I had Minnesota and Massachusetts as the 2 hockey states. That's what I was going with.
And Minnesota is hockey.
Yeah. Michigan.
Football.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one. We said Minnesota's hockey. Missouri. Think of Hunger Games.
Think of Robin
Killing
Hood.
people.
Think of Robin Hood.
Horseback riding.
Archery.
Archery. Yeah. Errol Flynn
New
is
Hampshire
going
did skiing?
brave.
This one kind of surprised me. New York.
New
What do you
York,
think
yeah.
the state sport of New York is? It's a top 4.
Basketball.
Baseball. It was baseball. I was kind
Baseball.
of surprised that. I figured that baseball was going to be down in the South. All right, we got a few more. North Carolina. You can get this one. North Carolina.
What'd you
Think
say?
about like a top 8 major sport.
Oh, auto racing.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Exactly.
Yep. North Dakota.
Hockey.
Kind of surprised me.
It should be hockey.
Think about North Dakota as being really close to Canada.
Lacrosse.
Nope.
It should be hockey though, but it's not.
Curling.
There
Yeah.
you go. Curling. See, we just got to give
Go,
him one
dog.
little hint, and he gets this. South Dakota. Think of this as the complete opposite of curling. Think of it as being, I would say, close to Texas, which it's not. Not a major sport. What is it?
Football.
No,
No.
not a major sport.
Not a major sport.
Hey, here's another one. Garth Brooks sang a song about this. It's boots and spurs.
Bull riding.
Yeah, rodeo.
It's rodeo.
Rodeo.
Texas. Yeah, Texas is not football; it's rodeo. Washington State, new
This is-
sport. It's a new sport.
New sport, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball. Well done. And then Wyoming is the same as Texas and South Dakota, which was rodeo. So those are the state sports that we know of. New Hampshire's skiing, and I guess we're all in agreement that New Hampshire should be skiing. I'm looking forward to going to a jousting event in Maryland. I think that's my next trip to Maryland. I'm going to include some
I
jousting.
think that's amazing. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh. I mean, we did. I like seriously. I've seen it at the King Richard's Fair. It's fun to watch, but I can't believe that it would draw a whole lot of people outside of an annual fair.
I don't know, but you're going to find that in Maryland. All right, we'll be right back with trivia.
This is the Pulse of New Hampshire 107.7 WTPL.
Are you in need of a reliable and trustworthy auto repair shop? Look no further than Pellerin Motorsports, located at 219 Pembroke Street in Pembroke. Meet Brandon and Ryan, your expert mechanics, who are dedicated to providing honest and reliable service to all their customers.
Hey, it's Ryan from Pellerin Motorsports.
And I'm Brandon.
You know, at Pellerin Motorsports, we believe in doing things the right way the first time. We're not going to try to sell you unnecessary repairs or try to upsell you on services you don't need. Your trust means everything to us.
That's right. We treat every vehicle like it's our own. No, we are committed to fixing your vehicle right the first time. We've got the knowledge and expertise to tackle any problem that comes our way.
And we also know how important your family safety is to you. That's why we go above and beyond to make sure your vehicle is reliable and safe.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the repairs. When you drive into Pellerin Motorsports, you become part of our automotive family.
So listen, if you're tired of being taken advantage of, come down to Pellerin Motorsports. We're waiting to take care of all your automotive needs.
Give us a call at 210-1637.
Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie from Crossroads Chiropractic. Adjustments changed my life as a child suffering chronic ear infections and saved my parents from a lifetime of chronic neck and back pain. When I grew up, I became a chiropractor to help other families live healthier, happier lives with less pain and more vitality. We've been voted best chiropractor year after year and literally helped thousands. But one of my proudest accomplishments is creating a second generation of chiropractors.
Hi, this is Dr. Brooke. I'm the little girl from the Crossroads commercials in the 2000s, and now I'm a chiropractor too. I share my mom's passion for leaving the planet healthier than we found it. Together with my husband, we are carrying on the Crossroads legacy. Crossroads is different. We're not a quick fix place. We do a careful examination, get to know your health concerns, and we make a plan for correcting your unique spinal misalignments. Find out how good being well-adjusted can be. A complete exam with any necessary x-rays is just $59 at Crossroads Chiropractic in Bedford, Pembroke, Epping, and Meredith. Find out more at crossroadschiropractic.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef. This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
With McValue at McDonald's, you don't just get deals on the drinks, you get deals on McDonald's drinks. So when you're breaking a sweat, embrace the chill without breaking the bank. And when your crew is running on empty, keep your wallet full while refreshing the squad.
Don't just pass the vibe check. Ace it with drinks like Coke Zero, Dr. Pepper, or any size soft drink for $1.39. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Get in touch with the show anytime at thepulseofnh.com and on the free-to-download Pulse of NH app. Now, back to Mike and the Haas on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Mike and the Haas on the radio waves. Teachers by day, coaches making plays. Sports talking kings of Wolfboro town. Husbands, fathers, where heroes are found.
Trivia today is sponsored by the Back Bay Boathouse, 603-228-2080. Charlie, what are we getting at the Back Bay Boathouse?
They're going to get themselves a gift card, Mike, to the Back Bay Boathouse. The Back Bay Boathouse is a casual, family-friendly restaurant located at 51 Mill Street in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. It's overlooking scenic Back Bay of Lake Winnipesaukee. It was voted the best family restaurant in 2022 and 2023. It offers lakeside dining with the option to dock and dine for boaters. The Boathouse serves lunch and dinner, and they are open 7 days a week from 11:30 to 9 p.m. And of course, you can get the Mike and the Haas drink special, the penalty box, from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday for only $5. So that's the Back Bay Boathouse, 603-228-2080. That's 603-228-2080. Who is the only person in NBA history to win Rookie of the Year, MVP, Finals MVP, All-Star Game MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year? Once again, who is the only person in NBA history, we're talking basketball, to win Rookie of the Year, MVP, Finals MVP, All-Star Game MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. If you know who this person is, 603-228-2080, 603-228-2080 to win a gift card to the Back Bay Boathouse.
That's like the royal flush of accolades for a basketball player. That's
This
there's
person's a stud. Yeah.
there's really not much more. There's really not. There is. I mean, you could include. He was also Mr. Basketball too at one point when he was younger.
Yeah,
for his
true.
state, so you can add that onto that thing too.
Sure.
So, that's it. That's an amazing career. All right, you wanted to touch base. We're going to get to the NBA. We're going to talk about NBA and NHL finals in a second. Before we remind everybody that the Red Sox are playing today at 4:10. Pregame is at 3:15 on the Pulse of New Hampshire network. Looking for their second. What'd you say?
The pregame is at 3:10.
3:10. Sorry, 3:10. Looking for their second straight win. Who knows? Maybe they're going to go on a tear. They're going to go on a heater.
Well, they're going to win. No, Mike, like I said, they're probably going to win like 5 or 6 of the next 8 or 9 games, and then they'll be back at 500.
Yeah, I know. It does always seek its level. All right, Charlie, and let's do WNBA. It's relevant. Let's talk about it.
Okay, definitely. So this was going to be my opening take. Hey, Mike, we do have a caller. Maybe before we get into this,
Steve from Dover. What do you got?
I got Larry Bird.
You are correct. It is Larry Legend, Larry Bird. He was and is the man. I love it, Steve. I love it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Nice job, Steve.
One of my favorite player of all time on the Celtics, I think. Yeah.
Oh, me too, Steve. Me too. I love, and it's one of those things. When my kid was little, we made sure to get him a Larry Bird shirt because we knew that Larry Bird was not going to be traded. So Larry Bird is the man.
Yeah. Absolutely, and back in the days when it was like the Celtics and then everybody else, when Johnny Most, that was a great period of life for basketball fans.
Yep. Oh yeah, I agree. So fun, and we're a little bit older, right? So we get to look back on the glory days, and man, those basketball in the '80s was so different than basketball today.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Awesome,
Steve, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to Mike and the Hoss, and congratulations on winning the gift card to the Back Bay Boathouse.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Stay dry.
On that topic, especially, what Steve was saying, that I think out of the two all-time players, the passion from the fans for Michael Jordan and second, Larry Bird. The Larry Bird fans are very, very passionate that he is the best player of all time. You know what I mean? It's something that you can argue for and against. Obviously, it's arguable. But the passion that comes from Larry Bird fans is second to none. I would just put like Jordan is the only one that the Jordan fans, him being the best ever, are really passionate. You don't get that with LeBron. You don't get that with Magic. You don't get that with, Kareem or those kinds of things.
Although Ohio, it's a different story, Mike.
All right, Ohio.
Ohio.
I forgot the Cleveland connection.
Ohio.
Jordan who?
But Larry Bird fans are really, really passionate. But it's also the other way around too. That there's people that can't stand Larry Bird as far as that were against him. That you heard the whole story. If Larry Bird was black, you'd be an average player, and that narrative is out there quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we get Larry Bird callers, and they're jumping through the phone that they want to get and talk about Larry Bird.
Didn't Bill Murray in Space Jam say he's not white, he's clear?
Well, and it's funny because you talk, not to beat this to death, but obviously I'm a huge Larry Bird fan, but I'm also a huge Michael Jordan fan. So I love them both. So you're right though. It's good. You could have a good debate as to who is the GOAT, and you have evidence clearly on both sides. So that'd be fun to talk about. So all right.
WNBA.
Let's do a little WNBA. So just talking a little bit, we all know that Caitlin Clark is injured and she's out, and she's got the thigh. There's the thigh strain,
quad strain,
the quad strain on her thigh. So who knows? They're saying 2 weeks, but we know it's going to be longer than that because Alex Bregman has a similar injury, and they said 9 weeks. So who knows? But we just know that she's not in the league right now. And, our concern is that they really need to, they being the WNBA, really should protect their number one asset. We talked a little bit about figures. Last year, the revenue of the WNBA was about $200 million. And they estimated that 26.5% of that revenue was because of Caitlin Clark. If you looked recently, the ticket prices of the highly anticipated WNBA game between the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky, so that would be Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, which is coming up on June 7th, the ticket prices plummeted. They were at like $86, and now you can pick them up for $25 because Caitlin Clark isn't there. No, sadly, nobody cares. You're not going to see Angel Reese play basketball. You're going to see Caitlin Clark. So the ticket prices have plummeted. So the Caitlin Clark effect is huge. The Caitlin Clark effect is actually based on statistics. It's not just this feeling of people like her. They're taking a look at ticket prices. They're taking a look at jersey sales. They're taking a look at total revenue. So the WNBA has to do a better job of protecting their number one asset. You get rid of Caitlin Clark, you're not gonna have, well, they don't have a successful league anyway, but you're certainly not gonna have a successful league if she's not out there on the floor.
When Michael Jordan was at his greatest, the NBA protected him. That you touched him, it was a foul. It was they were called Jordan fouls. And they did that because he was the face of the league. He was the ticket. He sold out every away game that he went to. They sold out, whether it was some team that only had 4 wins, they still sold out because Jordan was the ticket.
Right.
It's the same thing with Caitlin Clark. Even though she's not the best player in the league, and I don't think anybody would argue that she's the best player in the league, she's one of the more exciting players in the league. The where she takes her shots from, how she makes the assist, the passing, she has a little Magic-esque, in terms of that, the entertainment factor that she has. She's not a Asia Wilson. She's not scoring 30 a game every single game, banging 15 rebounds. She's not that, but she's 20, 25 a game, with 11 assists, and it's a little bit dazzling, some of the no-look stuff that she does. That, again, it's Magic-esque, and people went to see Magic.
Right.
I shared with you on Overtime with Mike and the Hoss that montage that I saw of the fouls, the hard fouls against Caitlin Clark, and you're not seeing that against other players. There's a animosity towards Caitlin Clark from the other players, and it's a problem. It's something that you and I have talked about, the three of us have talked about over the past year, that there is genuine animosity towards Caitlin Clark, and we don't get it because she's the meal ticket. Maybe her being out is actually a good thing. Maybe when they start seeing the ticket prices go down from $88 to $25, which is like 400% drop in ticket prices for a marquee game that is no longer a marquee game, because you're not going to pay, to you said, Charlie, you're not going to go watch Angel Reese get her own rebounds 30% of the time, because that's what most of her rebounds come down to, is from her own misses.
Right.
So you're not going to go do that. You're going to want to see stars. You're going to want to see actually really good basketball. And Caitlin Clark brings that good basketball. The WNBA has a problem. I don't know how they're going to solve it, because they're going to have to figure out a way to placate the other players that are in the league, but also protect Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And it's not going to be easy.
No, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a dog. Did you want to say something, God?
Remember, the WNBA All-Star game is at Indiana this year, so they need to have her there in some capacity, i.e. playing.
Yeah. I mean, if the big push is that the WNBA players want to get paid more money, then you gotta take advantage of the Caitlin Clark factor. You've got to fill the seats. If you can fill the seats at $86, $88 a ticket versus $25, you're going to start to create more revenue. You're going to get more excitement. The NBA isn't always going to have to bail out the WNBA. Hopefully they'll reach that point, but you're not going to do it with Caitlin Clark sitting on the sideline.
The valuations are going up in the WNBA. The New York Liberty sold a portion of their team for a record $450 million was the valuation of the team. No team has come close to that in the WNBA. So they're seeing the results of Caitlin Clark actually in the pockets of the owners of the teams.
Right.
But it's tenuous because they're also seeing the effects of Caitlin Clark not being in there just in that June 7th game. Just in that one game that was supposed to be a marquee game, they're seeing what happens when she's not in there. They're not going to see some of the other players. I think Paige Buchers has the chance. I think, Dog's wife, Kelsey Plum has a chance. They have a chance. But right now, Caitlin Clark is the hottest ticket in town, and they got to protect her.
Yeah, agreed.
Paige Beckers has her concussion, so that's not helping things because she's probably going to be the rookie of the year. The way the trajectory I have the Dallas Wings is the same I have with the Indiana Fever, where they started slow and then got the momentum and were able to make the playoffs. Well, that's not going to happen if Paige Beckers is injured, much like the Indiana Fever if Caitlin Clark is injured. They got to have these stars healthy and winning.
The Fever have a little bit more around them this year. They put some pieces around them that, you know, I think they're going to
all over again. Beckers is
they're going to beat. Yeah, they're going to beat the Sky on the 7th without Caitlin Clark, and that's, you know, and they're going to need that. They need Caitlin Clark to be relevant. They need her to be playing more than one round in the playoffs. So I think it's going to happen. We're way over on time. We'll be right back with more Mike and the Hoss.
News, information, and discussion. This is 107.7 WTPL.
Remember cell phones that were only phones? With technology constantly offering us more and more ways to make our daily lives more efficient, shouldn't there be a way to make our heat and hot water systems more efficient too? Current 21st century technology can provide you with endless hot water while cutting high fuel bills associated with old-fashioned boilers. HR Club and Kearsarge Heating is an Energy Kinetics premier dealer. They offer a full line of propane, gas, and boiler burner systems to accommodate your heating and hot water needs for any application. Energy Kinetics boilers are made in America and feature whisper quiet system operation that will increase your comfort and reduce your fuel bills. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating have the breakthrough Ascent combination heat hot water boiler. The Ascent is Energy Kinetics' newest product that is specifically designed to replace outdated, inefficient tankless coil boiler technology with modern, clean, efficient technology and increased hot water capacity. HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating Oil's commitment to excellence has set them apart for over 80 years. Contact them today to find out which Energy Kinetics product can help lower your fuel bill. Call 746-3456 or visit them online at hrcluff.com.
Hi, this is Frank.
And this is Cheryl from Capital Craftsman and Romance Jewelers.
And we're here to talk diamonds.
There are so many options out there, and sometimes it helps to have some basic knowledge.
Absolutely. And whether it's natural, made by Mother Nature, lab grown, which contrary to popular belief, are not grown in a lab, they're made in a factory.
We know the idea of people in nice white coats watering diamonds in a neat little scientific lab sounds kind of cool, but it's just not the case.
Whatever you're in the market for when it comes to your choice of diamonds, Capital Craftsman and Romance Jewelers will guide you in the right direction. We offer loose and preset options of white gold, yellow gold, platinum, and silver.
If you're looking for engagement rings, earrings, necklaces, or bracelets, our options are virtually endless. And if we don't have them, we can make you a custom designed piece.
Capital Craftsman and Romance Jewelers, 16 North Main Street, downtown Concord. You can follow us on Facebook or visit us at capitalcraftsman.com.
We want to be your family jeweler.
Looking to upgrade your space with timeless tile? ADF Flooring has you covered. From beautiful ceramic and porcelain tile for bathrooms, showers, backsplashes, and even patios or pool areas. They offer expert installation, including stunning glass mosaics and 42 grout color options to match any style. Want luxury you can feel? Ask about Ditra Heat, an electric floor warming system that brings customizable comfort to your home. Because let's face it, nothing's nicer than stepping out of the shower onto a warm tile floor. And don't miss ADF's newest edition, Natural Wool Carpet. Durable, elegant, and on display now in the showroom. Best of all, many of the products at ADF Flooring are made right here in the USA. So whether it's indoor, outdoor, or underfoot, ADF Flooring has the perfect fit.
ADF Flooring meets dependability.
You're listening to the Granite State's own Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Even though that's my favorite one, we got to cut that short because we don't have much time left in the show. We asked a poll question last week, Charlie, and I had to lock my door at home because I was worried that people are so mad about that one. And
yeah, they were.
I'm not sure if some people fully understood the question. You know, we were asking about the graduation party. We're not asking about the graduation.
Right.
But, Dog, what were the results, if you can figure it out?
You can't decipher the ones on Facebook. Sorry, can't. Because, again, they didn't understand the question. Folks, please don't do that again. Please. It's cut and dry. Graduation party, not the same.
Right.
On X, though, Should Alex Cora not skip managing the Red Sox or a Red Sox game to go to his daughter's college graduation party? 64.7% saying no, 35.3% saying yes. That was on X.
All right. So yeah. So the big thing was, the fact that the three of us look like ogres. We felt that Alex Cora should have gone to the actual graduation ceremony at Boston College. Fully supported that. The argument was whether or not he should have continued to do the party later in the day. So, yeah.
That's all. That's all. We were to take a break from the party and go manage the game and then come back.
Yeah.
That's what the question was. But we were going to ask a much more mild question today that should not be very controversial.
Better not be, because I'm like Santa, checking the list, watching you twice. Yeah. Okay. This week's poll question on X and on Facebook at the Pulse of NH. What are you more interested in? This 2025 Stanley Cup Final or the 2025 NBA Finals?
All right.
Yeah. Where are you? Where do you guys fall? Where do you guys fall with your? Charlie, start with you.
I would. So I'm gonna
NBA, NHL.
I'm gonna pay more attention to the NHL.
Yep. Dog.
I hate rematches, so I'm not happy about this little affair. Just like the Super Bowl when it was the Eagles and the Chiefs again. An NBA Finals for sure, because we don't know who it's going to be at the moment, because we know it's OKC. But they're just sitting back, waiting for the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks to beat the hell out of each other. They're A-okay with that, because Game 1 will be at OKC on Thursday, I believe, whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers. Game 6 tonight. If they go to a Game 7, it'll be Monday night in the Mecca.
Yeah,
I'm the NHL. I think there's some good storylines in there, and you do in the NHL, in the NBA also. But you have the best player in hockey going for revenge as far as against the Panthers last year's in Connor McDavid. So there is that.
This time they didn't have that last year. They have the home ice this year.
Yeah, so I am thinking that I'm hoping that Edmonton comes out on top. The Bruins already get their pick, from the whole Marchand deal, that trade. So that's behind us. I do find it interesting. I was listening to Colin Cowherd this week, and I don't listen to him very much, but I'm impressed by sometimes how he can take a local story and talk about it as if he is a local reporter. He has that ability. But he was doing a comparison to SGA and Jason Tatum, and that Jason Tatum, for that that cup of coffee where he might be the face of the league last year, it was his opportunity, and he proceeded in the playoffs to basically lay an egg, and Jaylen Brown was the MVP of the Eastern Conference playoffs, and he was the MVP of the NBA Finals. They won their ring and everything like that. The complete opposite's happening with SGA. He won his MVP, but he's dominated in every single series going up. Mm-hmm. It's nothing for him to put up 35-40, and he is. Not only was he the MVP of the league, OKC is probably going to run away with this thing. And especially as J-Dog put it, that if Indiana and New York beat the crap out of each other over the next two games, they're going to have nothing left. And you're going to see an Oklahoma City gentleman's sweep, probably going to do it in 5. But there's no doubt who the number one player is going to be on that team. There's no doubt who the MVP is going to be of these things, because he is just that dominant and showing everybody that he should have been the MVP in the regular season, and he should be the MVP of the All-Star game, and so on down the line, and that he's going to be here for a couple of years. And Jason Tatum, I still can't believe that Jason Tatum got first team All-Pro, because he's not a top 5 player. I'm sorry, he's not a top 5 player in this league anymore, and he was for maybe a year. He's not that. He may be second team, but he is not top 5. And the political arm of Jason Tatum seems to be pretty good as far as negotiating this. So, all right, I guess that's it. Sorry, I took a little time there, Charlie. So
it's okay.
Make up for it next week.
All right. Make sure you check out Overtime with Mike and the Hoss.
Have a good week, everybody.